Guys, deluded, I'm back again. Now, I'm not a Manchester United fan, but thank you very much for you United fans that watch me, that rock with me, that see. Obviously, I'm an Arsenal fan, but I like football. A lot of you have been asking me to speak on Jose Mourinho or offer my opinions on. I don't know if you want me to offer my opinions on him as on a whole in United, or more so these last few months. In fact, this last week specifically. Those who don't know, United shamefully lost to Spurs. Lost 3-0 to Spurs at their place. Obviously, Jose's walking out of press conferences, and it's the latest and bit of antics from the man, to be fair. And United fans that I speak to, they've had enough of it. Maybe some have had enough of Jose. In fact, quite a lot have had enough of Jose. Many have just had enough of the antics and the nonsense surrounding the club and just want to focus on football. But obviously, with that being said, I'm not too sure if Jose is the next manager to get sacked, people. I don't know. I mean, on one hand, I don't want to say he should be given time and things like that because he's been here for 2 years. You typically know with Jose Mourinho, he's at a club for 3 years. First year, madness might happen. Second year, he probably winning that. Third year, it looks like it's all curtains. And we've all sat here and said many a times and said that, obviously, with Jose, he's a bit of an anomaly in that many things he gets away with or has gotten away with in the past, many other managers won't, and to a degree he should be allowed. He shouldn't because it's not fair, but he should because he's that winner, cerebral winner, special one. Jose, all of these things. Man United is probably the hardest job. It is the hardest job he's ever probably taken. He might say different, but for me it looks like it purely because, alright, Porto, you did your thing. Chelsea, you did your thing. Chelsea ×2 when you went back, you did your thing. Inter Milan, you know the thing. Madrid probably on level in the sense that you can't do whatever what you want, but specific to United. And how it's actually different from Madrid is because United are not, when you say United, they're normally at the same level as, obviously not playing wise, but they're normally in the same bracket as Barcelona, Madrid. And if we're honest, yeah, because stature of the club and branding and all of that, but technical level, you're nowhere near that. You're nearer to Seville and Sporting Gijon and them sort of sides there. So I can see United fans' frustration. Like, it's the hardest job Jose's ever had because he can't do it. He can't, some of the antics he's coming with, I said it before, he won't be able to do it at United, and he's clearly not being shown to do it. United is not a thing where, I'm not saying the other clubs he's managed has just been a one-club thing, but there's levels at United in the sense that Fergie made a case of that, okay, he might be the hallmark, the print, but it's like the club can operate without him. There's several things going on, there's several figureheads, there's several bits and pieces and people you got to check in with. You can't just call out the world and behave on how he wants. So I can see how he's frustrated. And on top of that, United are not where they need to be as a football club in the sense that they're at their weakest. Certainly in my lifetime, they're at their weakest. Many United fans that I speak to are quite frankly spoiled brats because they really can't take not winning. They started winning to the point where they would say comments, and my friends have actually said this, Jonathan O'Shea is better than Sol Campbell. So you can see their frustrations, but away from the banter, like, you would have thought, because of United not being where they wanted, a quick fix, Jose might not be the man to bring through youth and play good football, but United's a club with a rich history of winning. Jose's a winner. You thought it was a match made in heaven, and it looks like the Red Devils have been welcomed to hell. For me, Jose, last year I had a bit of sympathy for Jose. So far, I can't really have sympathy for him because I can have sympathy from him in the sporting front because clearly he never got the centre-half he wanted and maybe other targets. United fans know their stuff more than me. I won't pretend to know more than your club, than yourselves. But it looked like he wasn't getting his targets for whatever reason. In today's day and age, you can't just blame managers for transfers because they've got people behind them. So if he's been shortchanged in that regard by Woodward or whoever deals with it, I have sympathy. But purely from a footballing point, this is the sword he has to die on, surely, because you knew it. You knew United, they got a good blueprint last year. Last year, if you asked them, did they play good football? Hell no. But if I remember rightly, forgive me if I'm wrong, they finished second. Granted, way off City, but they finished second. A big part of that was because of the defensive record and how they approach defending. So if they married that with freeing, and I know we poke fun at Pogba by saying free Pogba, if they was to free Pogba and Martial, for example, and Lukaku and all these other players, I'm not being literal, I'm just saying names right now, people. Free them. If you marry the two together, Jose's cerebral approach and defending and meticulous planning with that Disney Channel stuff, people being able to play football, then you'd think United immediately could be title contenders. Maybe not win it because City are still a different beast, but get back to that. It hasn't happened. Pre-season, they don't think they lost too many games, but for me, the only noise I was hearing from United was Jose complaining, why can't more people be like Alexis? There was this, there was that, and the other. There's a long episode of rants in pre-season in it, and you can see how it filters into this year. They've not, in my opinion, I'm not even being biased to United. I don't think United, similar to us, I don't think they've played well in any game, to be fair with you. they on one hand it's just about the results. So granted, they beat Leicester 3-1 or 2-1 or something like that. Forgive me, but if you remember that game, Leicester were in it. They bottled it against Brighton, and they were in it against United. I mean, against Spurs, and then they lost it. For me, it looks like it's over for him. I don't like to see man get sacked, and I've got a lot of time for Jose, but it looks like it's over. Again, don't want to write too many conclusions, because 1 minute you're getting sacked in August, then you're loved in September. But it looks like it's over. I mean, you know from when Jose Mourinho's praising Luke Shaw, you know he knows his time's up. It looks like several of the players, if we didn't know already, they look like they're not on this thing no more. And you've got to be very careful. Once you lose the dressing room, you've lost it, because I don't think players are going out there to lose on. Generally, players don't go out there to lose on purpose. Players don't go out there to get smacked up on purpose. But if they don't feel galvanized by a manager, if they're not ready to ride for a manager, subconsciously they stop trying, whether they want to recognize it or not. And many a time, well, definitely against Brighton, against Spurs, United look defeated, and that's an attribute that should not be attached with a club of the stature of Man United. Never giving up should be the bare minimum at any capacity to get you into that club, because you're playing for a massive club. Look at me, I'm an Arsenal fan. I hate United with all my breath, but if I was playing for United, I'm dying for them, because that's a massive club, and I don't feel some of the players are showing it. Jose's blaming everyone, blaming himself, blaming everyone. You see, and people get fined for going on looking after their newborn kids and things like that. It's getting rugby. Like, it's getting rugby. For me, I'm not a United fan, so I don't know their thing like that. But if it was for me and he does go, the person I would look to bring in, I'm not too sure an actual name, but it'd be more of a case of, people that know Novak, the guy that went to Munich from Frankfurt as their manager. I personally think United need that, in the sense that he might not be a massive name. People that don't really know football might be saying, who's this? But United need, obviously everybody's a coach. Every manager's a coach, but they need a coach first. Someone that's looking at their squad, all right, cool. How can I get him to play better? Someone that's actually on developing the players. Obviously, you need to spend money now as well, but spending money hasn't helped United. Jose spent around 400 million, forgive me if I'm wrong, at that club. They've been pouring money at it since Fergie's gone. I mean, you'd think a club that's at one point had Di Maria and Falcao would be title challengers. They're not. I mean, it's the first year and also last year that they finished ahead of Arsenal in a while. How crap have Arsenal been being? So if you know where your standards are at the moment, that should be a pretty damning verdict that Arsenal finished ahead of you in many seasons since Fergie's gone. And that probably frustrates the board and things like that. So I think they need a Novak, in the sense that, yeah, he should be given money. Clearly, there's a couple signings needed in regards to the whole spine of the club, excluding De Gea and Lukaku, specifically to defence. But someone that's going to work with the side, someone that's going to introduce a passage of play or a certain way of playing, develop young players. Look how long it's taken him to bring in Shaw. Someone that would have been a bit different to Shaw, put an arm around Shaw, for example. Someone that would have, because I don't think Bailly I think Bailly is a very good defender, one of the best in the Prem. But even Jose, the one thing you attribute him is being able to improve centre halves. I wouldn't say he's improved Bailly, because he's still making the same errors. So someone that's going to get that, not to name tag him, someone that's going to work with some of the academy players, someone that's just really going to be a trainer first, develop first, pour money at fix second. We know Jose, he's not here for this Disney Channel stuff. He's not here to develop players. Ready-made players, man that are tough, like, not to talk about old phrases, but men's men, something he admits himself that he can't deal with soft personalities. That's what he wants. I think that United need to go down that route. They kind of had it with Van Gaal and he got a bit crazy, doing a bit of weird stuff, but they probably need to go down that approach. Maybe go for a lesser name. Maybe, I wouldn't say Arteta, that's probably the worst example, but in the sense that Arsenal found themselves, when Wenger called it a day of needing something, we bottled it and went for Unai Emery, but maybe Arteta, lesser known. I think that's, a lot of clubs are going to have to, Arsenal soon as well, if Unai Emery calls it a day in a couple of years, going to need to look for them sort of names there, people that are thinking, that are lesser known names, or of coming to the game quicker and things, because that's where I think the game is changing. Obviously, if managers become available, it's a different thing, but at this moment in time, if Jose was to leave, I wouldn't know who to tell you to replace him. Like, people can say Zidane, I don't think he's got a club at this moment in time, but we'll see, innit? Me, it's just, if I'm a United fan, I can sympathise with you lot, because as an Arsenal fan, I'm tired of hearing my club's name in anything other than to just do, it's hard enough looking at headlines just to do with footballing matters, but every week Arsenal's involved in nonsense off the pitch and things that are irrelevant, so I can only sympathise with you lot. I mean, the circus that Jose comes with all the saying free and walking out, it's enough, and it looks like it's going to be a horrible divorce. I mean, I would love to be wrong. In fact, I wouldn't love to be wrong, because it's Man United, but you get what I'm saying, people. There's nothing more to say on that front, man. Guys, deluded, get in the comments, subscribe, and do the rest. I'm out.